Mr. Silverhoose. To all the members of the advisory committee, I humbly thank you for your guidance and wisdom throughout this process. It is my honor and pleasure as the principal of North Augusta High School to introduce our next head football coach. Coach Robert Jimmy Bryant, affectionately known as Jim Bob, is a native of North Carolina and is married to Miss Mary Candace. He has been a high school teacher for 22 years and a head football coach for 17 years. Coach Bryant attended Guilford College in Greensboro, North Carolina, and played quarterback there. He earned his bachelor's degree in exercise and sports science from East Carolina in 1995. He has won 180 games as a head coach and with a career winning percentage of 79%. From 1995 to 2002, Coach Bryant served as the offensive coordinator at Williamston High School, where they won a state championship and finished as state runners-up twice. From 2003 to 2007, Coach Bryant served as the head coach at Greene Central High School and had an overall record of 42-19. The 2003 team won the conference championship, and he was named Area Coach of the Year. These accomplishments were repeated in 2005. The state of North Carolina selected Coach Bryant as the youngest ever Shrine Bowl assistant coach in 2007. He was also named Area Coach of the Year. Coach Bryant was named the head football coach at Havelock High School in 2008 and served there until 2016. This is where things really took off. During his first year as head coach, he turned around a program that had won 7 games in 3 years by achieving an 8-4 record and finishing second in the conference. Havelock then won the Eastern finalist, or was an Eastern finalist with a 13-2 record in year 2, and he was named Conference Coach of the Year. In 2010, Havelock was the Eastern finalist with an 11-4 record. In 2011, Havelock won the AAA State Championship with a 16-0 record and led all of North Carolina in total yards and points. Coach Bryant was selected the Conference Coach of the Year and the North Carolina Associated Press Coach of the Year. Havelock would repeat as state champions in 2012 with a 15-1 record and lead all of North Carolina in total yards and points. He was again selected as the Conference Coach of the Year. In 2013, Havelock won the AAA State Championship with a 16-0 record and led all of North Carolina in scoring and total defense. He was selected as the Conference Coach of the Year and the North Carolina Associated Press Coach of the Year. He was also selected to coach in the prestigious Semper Fidelis All-American Bowl in California. The 2014 season saw Havelock finish as state runners-up with a 14-2 record and lead all of North Carolina in total yards and points. And I think that game actually came down to a 4th and goal with a chance to win it all, and he went for it. The Under Armour All-American football game selected Coach Bryant to be an assistant coach in 2015. Havelock won the conference championship and finished with a 12-1 record. Coach Bryant again was selected as the Conference Coach of the Year. In 2016, Havelock was the AAA Eastern finalist with a 13-2 record, and Coach Bryant was selected as the Carolina Panthers NFL Coach of the Week. After a stint at Freedom High School, Coach Bryant moved to the head coach's position at North Paulding High School in Atlanta and to one of the top competitive regions in the country. Amazingly, North Paulding made the 7A state playoffs in 2018 and 19. The Atlanta Falcons selected Coach Bryant as their NFL Coach of the Week. Coach Bryant has authored numerous football articles in sporting magazines. 90 and counting of his former players have earned football scholarships. 4 of his former players are in the NFL. Coach Bryant mentors his teams through a character development program that he has created. His teams routinely volunteer and serve their communities by completing numerous community service projects annually. Because of his community work, the Blue Angels recently honored Coach Bryant as a key influencer in his community and provided him with a chance to fly with the Blue Angels. I don't think he remembers much of the flight, but it did occur. Please join me in giving an official jacket welcome to our next head football coach, Mr. Robert Jimmy Bryant.
First of all, thank all you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to be at North Augusta, to say the least. One of the main things that I'm excited about is I looked at a lot of you guys' game film from last year, and I feel like we got a pretty good group coming back. And as a high school football coach, looking at film, as much as I look at film, and then watching film from last year, I know you guys went through some adversity with some injuries and different things. That happens in football. Same thing happened to us this past year at North Augusta. We lost 10 starters after our 5th game of the year and had to play probably was the toughest region in Georgia, down 10 starters. I know that's a tough go up. I also like to thank Principal Murphy and Brad for offering me this position and giving me a chance to come to North Augusta. I'm excited about the football opportunity, but I'm also excited to be in a sports town. Riding through with my wife and I have been back and forth the last 3 weeks. This week we've been back and forth 3 different times from Kennesaw, Georgia to here. Terrible rainstorm today, but by the grace of God we got here because I'm not a very good driver, but we got here anyway. I was able to meet a few of the players today, a couple of the coaches. We're going to spend the night tonight, drive back tomorrow, pack some more stuff up tomorrow, and then load up a 26-foot U-Haul truck, and we're going to move down here Saturday, lock, stock, and barrel. I've been out of work for a week. It's about to drive me crazy. I'm a football guy. I don't have many hobbies. My old hobby, one of my biggest old hobbies, was surfing, and that's how I met my wife. I was trying to surf in a hurricane, trying to show off, and I dislocated and tore my labrum. So, she didn't marry me because of my surfing ability. But thank God for her. She's a great coach's wife. She supports everything that we do athletically. She's around the kids. She loves the boys on the team. We've got 2 boys of our own. One's a 19-year-old, one's 17. One's getting ready to graduate high school. One's in Georgia right now. The other one's in North Carolina, in eastern North Carolina. I know Principal Murphy talked a little bit about me, but I'm going to kind of give you a condensed version of what got me here and how it got me here. I was born and raised in a small town in eastern North Carolina called Williamston, North Carolina. I played 3 sports in high school. I played 5 sports growing up. My dad coached me all the way until I got to be in the 7th grade. I played football, baseball, basketball. Played soccer until I was old enough to play football. And then I ran track as well. When I got to high school, I played football, baseball, and basketball at Williamston High School. I was a starting quarterback in basketball, starting quarterback in football, starting point guard in basketball, and pitched and played first base in baseball. My head coach at the time, I was a starting quarterback for 3 years, and I was dating his oldest daughter. So that was a pretty tough gig. But the first time I went and picked her up, I was backing out of the driveway, back into his ditch. So that was a good start to that. Her curfew was normally 11 o'clock. It was 9:30 after that. But I played for him for 4 years. Graduated, played at Guilford College. Went there and played for 2 years. Won the Old Dominion Athletic Conference our first year. They were just coming off from Division II to Division III. Stayed there until the end of my sophomore year. Sophomore year as a starting quarterback. And I was just telling Pastor backstage, that year I dislocated both shoulders, tore my meniscus in my knee, cracked 2 ribs, had turf toe, hurt my back, broke my nose in a walkthrough. So it was one of those years. We had 4 freshman offensive linemen. It was just one of those years. So at the end of that year, I transferred to East Carolina, finished up there. Once I graduated at East Carolina, I came back to my old high school at Williamston High School. I was the co-offensive coordinator my first year. I was 22 years old. Thought I had it all figured out. I was the co-offensive coordinator there with the man that coached me. He was my offensive coach in high school. He was still there. My head coach was still there. That was 1996. My second year there, I took over as offensive coordinator and was there for 6 years. We played for the state championship in 1999, won the state championship. Our quarterback was second in the state that year in passing. We had the #1 ranked defense in the state, and our tailback led the state in yards per carry. He averaged 16 yards a carry that year. He broke the state record for rushing yards in the state championship game and went on to play at East Carolina University. 2000, we did not make the playoffs. We were 9-2 and did not make the playoffs. Had a better team in 2000 than we did in '99, but the way we were set up, We were a 2A school at the time, or 1A school at the time. We were in a 1A, 2A, 3A conference. So that year only one 1A team went, and the 1A team that went beat us by 1 point in the regular season. We went back to the state championship game in 2001 and 2002. Our starting quarterback in those games led the state both years in passing. We led the state both years in total offense and total points. We had the #1 ranked quarterback in the state in 2001 and the #1 ranked tailback in the state. Both of them led the state. And our defense was second in the state that year. We only had 780 students in our whole school, but we had 62 players on the varsity. So Williamston, similar to North Augusta, and it was a very sports-minded, athletic-minded community. In 2002, after we lost the state championship in 2001 and 2002, I left to take my first head coaching job just outside of Greenville, North Carolina at Green Central, predominantly a baseball school. We came in and broke the school record the first year for the most wins in the season, made it to the second round that year, and we ended up winning the region 3 times in those 5 years that I was there. After my 5th year, Havelock High School on the East Coast near the beach came calling. They had gone through 3. They were 5 and 26 the 3 years combined before that, and they brought me in, and I was the principal, Principal Murphy. Not this Murphy, another Murphy, but my old principal said all Murphys are kin somewhere down the line. So they had a long conversation on the phone as well. See a lot of this Principal Murphy that I did to my other Principal Murphy. Came into Havelock. We won. He let me put my staff together. We hired 6 coaches the first year, and we hired 3 more the next year, and they stayed with us all 9 years. We had 1 coach leave during that 9-year period. He left to become a head coach in a small school down the road about 30 miles. He was my defensive coordinator for 6 of those years. But 9 of those seasons that we were at Havelock, we were 118 and 16. Very blessed to have great administration, great support from the community, really good football players, and I had a great assistant coaching staff. We won 3 state championships. We won state championship in 2011, 2012, and 2013. We went back in 2014 and lost the state championship. And then my last year there in 2016, we lost by 1 point in triple overtime with the chance to go to our 5th state championship in 6 years. That was a tough one to swallow. After that, at Havelock in our community and in that county, they cut all the money for athletics in that county at the time. There's 3 high schools in that county, and all 3 high schools had played for a state championship in those 9 years. But the county was in the hole $3.8 million, so the first thing they cut was athletics. So they cut me from 8 paid assistant coaches to 5. We did not have a booster club or a touchdown club to help out in any way. There was $25,000 that was normally given to the school by the county to help with equipment, an equipment grant. They pulled that. This is for all the schools in the county. Cut every coach in the county 10% off his coaching supplement. Took all of the money that they paid us to coach during the summer. Took all of that, but still expected us to do the same work. That was a tough decision, leaving Havelock, but I had 19 and a half years in North Carolina, and in the state system, you're paid in North Carolina, your retirement is paid on your 4 highest consecutive years. And it was time for a change, so my wife and I took a job in the western part of the state at Freedom High School near the mountains. I'm not going to say anything bad about that program, but there were promises made. It didn't happen, so nobody stepped up to make it right. So we left after 1 year. I then had 20 years in North Carolina. I was able to early retire. I know I look like I'm in my 20s, but I'm getting ready to be 50 in 3 years. So I start getting a retirement check, partial retirement check in 3 years. So then North Paulding, a 7A school in Georgia, found very competitive, and I knew going into the region that we were going into, 3 teams in that region last year were preseason ranked, both years were preseason ranked top 100 in the country. So as a competitor, that's something that I was salivating about, is getting a chance to go play some of the top players in the country. The region that we're in was ranked number 4 in the country as far as toughest regions by Max Preps. Went there for 2 years. Great people there, great kids, great community, great support. that was a very tough decision for me to leave and come to North Augusta. I wouldn't even have looked for any other jobs, and my wife brought this up to me, and I didn't realize until after she told me. I wasn't even in the market for looking for another football job. My defensive coordinator, who was from Florida, he lost his dad during the season. And his dad was so far away from him, he didn't have a chance to go see him before he passed away. My wife said the very next week I started looking at jobs closer to both our families in North Carolina. I had 3 jobs reach out to me, 2 in North Carolina, 1 in South Carolina. And then when I found out that North Augusta was open, I talked to a couple of my buddies that coach in South Carolina. I sent my resume and cover letter in, and then came down and spoke with Brad and Principal Murphy. And it felt like that the job here was God ordained for me. I mean, it was closer to my family. It's a great football situation. I judge programs by 6 things. And I've never been to a program that had all 6. And I feel like the North Augusta has all 6. When I took the job at Havelock, they only had 2. When I left, they had 4. At North Paulding, 6 of the things that I judged programs by, they had 3 of the 6. I felt like going in that North Augusta had all 6 things that the coaches look for when they're judging a football program and judging a community to live in. I felt like every door when I came in and I had a question about something, whatever question I had, there were answers to it. I was looking for one thing. If there was one thing that I could, because honestly, I didn't want to leave North Paulding, but I felt like that North Augusta was the place that I needed to be and that I needed to stay at and turn North Augusta into a state championship program again and build this program up the same way that we were able to build the program when I was at Havelock. And one of the things that we're going to do at North Augusta is we're going to embrace the past. We're going to embrace the tradition that has been at North Augusta. We're going to embrace the past, we're going to grab hold of the present, and we're going to yank in the future. That's what my job is to do as the head coach. My job as the head coach is to make sure we got the right kids on the bus and to make sure we get the wrong kids off the bus. What that means for these guys is we're going to hold everybody accountable. Our culture at North Augusta is going to be the EAT principle: effort, accountability, and toughness. And that's biblical. 2 Thessalonians 3:10. The one who's unwilling to work shall not eat. So if you want to eat on Friday, players, you got to work Monday through Thursday. You don't work Monday through Thursday, then you're not going to eat on Friday. You're going to probably be paying admission to get into the game and watch us kick people's butt. Okay? But that's my job as the head coach, is to develop and build a winning culture. And you develop and build a winning culture by developing and building high-character men. We build high-character men, then the wins and losses on the football field are going to take care of itself. So we're going to make sure that after spring practice that we're going to have the right kids on the bus moving forward during the summer. Again, I'm excited to be here. Unless you guys run me out of town, I plan on being here for a long time. I plan on staying here for as long as you guys will have me, and I want to build a program, and this is where I want to have my last stop. I want my last stop to be here. I want to build a program from the youth program all the way up to the varsity program. I want my coaches and players to be immersed into the youth program as well as into our middle school program, leading into our high school program. That's something that I did at North Paulding. I restructured our entire youth and middle school program. It's going to be a little bit different here because of the way middle school athletics are done. But I had 3 of my assistant coaches on my varsity. I paid them an extra supplement to take over my 3 middle school teams. They took over my 3 middle school teams. They had all volunteer coaches. They didn't have coaches paid by the county. It was all volunteer coaches and paid for by our touchdown club. But then what we did is we had 6 of our varsity players were assistant coaches on each of those teams. And we actually had a middle school state championship, had middle school playoffs in Georgia. Our 6th grade team at North Paulding won the middle school state championship. They were running our offense and defense, and my starting quarterback was our offense coordinator. So it is pretty special for those kids. But I see the same type thing that we can do here. We can build a youth program. They already do a great job at our rec department. But I want to try to immerse our coaching staff and our coaching families and our players from youth football to middle school football to B team to JV to varsity. I want to build a complete program. You know, we don't want to have just one team 1 year that's going to be successful. If we just want to have a one team that's going to be successful 1 year, then we're going to play guys that shouldn't be out there. We're going to let guys get away with stuff that they shouldn't get away with. Right? We're going to let coaches do things that they shouldn't be doing. You know, we're going to change the culture from what's been going on, and everybody's different. You know, everybody's different. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Not saying that anything that's been done has been wrong, but what we're going to do is just going to be different. And, you know, if the community buys in, and the players buy in, the coaches buy in, the administrators buy in, the teachers buy in, then I think that we can turn North Augusta into a perennial state power year in and year out. So I'm excited again to be here. I look forward to meeting some of you guys out front. Thank you again for having me. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer some questions right now. I know that's a dangerous thing, but I'll be more than happy to answer some questions. Any questions?
What are the 6 things you look for?
All right. I knew that was coming. All right. Facilities, community support, money for the program, ability to run the program the way that I think that a program needs to be run. And for me personally, being close to family. And then the word that you guys will hear me say a lot is dudes. I think we got some dudes here in North Augusta we can win some games with. Those are my 6 things that I judge programs by. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
What kind of athlete was Pharaoh Cooper in high school?
As good of an athlete as he was even a better kid. He was a high character kid. When your best player is your best kid, and your best player is your hardest worker, then you know you got a recipe for success. Pharaoh, when he was a freshman, he was about 5'7", had a little whiny voice. I mean, just aggravating young. And, you know, didn't play on the varsity as a freshman, and then between his freshman and sophomore year, he grew 4 inches and put on some muscle. And that voice, he got a little bit more bass in his voice. He started at wide receiver for us his sophomore and junior year and returned kicks. And going into his senior year, I was telling this story today, going into his senior year, we graduated a state championship quarterback the year before. And in 2012, I came to Pharaoh during the spring. I said, hey, man, you're going to play quarterback this year. He said, quarterback? I ain't a quarterback. I'm a receiver. I said, you are a receiver. You're the best receiver in the state. But if I don't have anybody who can throw it to you, I'm going to snap it to you. So his reads were simple. When we did pass blocking, instead of drop back pass protection on quick game, we blocked isolation plays. And he had one read. The read was closed, run it. And he ended up being the 3A state player of the year that year. Passed for right at 3,000 yards, rushed for 1,500, had 10 punt returns. I've never let my quarterback return punts before, but he was a special unit. So had 10 punt returns that year for touchdown. Was the Shrine Bowl offensive player of the game that year. And then went and played the OD All-American game and got the defensive player of the game. So he was a very special player. And again, he was a great kid. You know, we exchanged texts. He's not a big phone guy, which, you know, most of these kids nowadays aren't, but he's a big texter and Snapchatter. So, you know, he'll text me, let me know what's going on. Him and a couple other my former players were in Charlotte last weekend training together. Yeah, great player. And having a chance to, you know, Coach Spurrier was a big, you know, he was a big influence in the way I coached growing up. I was a Duke football fan when he was there. And then, you know, when he went to, you know, Florida and then South Carolina. And, you know, I tried to pattern a lot of things after what Coach Spurrier did. And having him come to my office and sit down and talk football for an hour and a half about Pharaoh Cooper and some of our other prospects was probably one of the biggest highlights of my coaching career. Anything else?
What about getting your high school players playing at the next level in college?
Yes, sir. That's one of the things that we do. What I do at when I was at North Paulding is we had a guy specifically designed to set up. He was our recruiting coordinator, and I find out which one of these coaches on staff does, you know, as a secondary position, who wants to take that over, and we'll start a prospect Twitter page and a prospect Facebook page. You know, taking them to different camps, you know, Some guys just think, hey, I'm gonna go to every Division I camp there is. But if Division I coaches aren't calling you on the phone and talking to you, then they just want your money at that camp. So if we try to place them in the camps that they have the best opportunity to go to, whatever level it is. You know, playing college football at whatever level it is special. It's special. You know, some kids turn their nose up at preferred walk-ons in Division III. You know, I wouldn't be the coach I am today if I didn't play Division III football. You know, I had opportunities to play Division II. I knew I wasn't a Division I player. You know, so, and my first love growing up was basketball. You know, and our community was kind of split. You know, so we were about, and that's why I feel like I can get along in any situation. In my community growing up, our baseball program, we had one African American in the baseball program. Our basketball program had one Caucasian, and you're looking at it. And our football program was split right down the middle. So we hung out with those guys on and off the field. So when college coaches come in now, then I know what they're looking for. And I always tell our players, I'm never going to lie to a college coach. So make sure that your truth is positive. Because they don't want to know if you're a good football player. Because they're going to know. Because they're going to see the film. They don't want to know what you're running to 40 because they don't trust half the high school coaches anyway to tell them how tall you are, what your weight is, and what your 40 is. They're going to judge that when you come to their one-day camp. What they want to know is, coach, first thing, is he a high-character kid? You have to worry about him off the field. Okay? So make sure your truth is positive. The other thing, coach, does he love football? Because if he doesn't love football, college football is not for him. So you think a 40-hour work week as a job is tough. College football is 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week at any level to do it right. Okay? 20 hours a week at most Division I's, incoming freshmen, mandatory study hall. Check in, check out. Okay? Film every day. Morning workouts at 5 a.m. Okay? You better love football, and that's what they ask. And coach, other thing, does he work hard? Does he work hard in the weight room? And they don't want to just talk to me when they come in. I encourage them to talk to these players' teachers, and talk to their counselors, and talk to their friends, because that's where you're going to get the real story. Okay? But I'll never lie to a college coach about a player to try to get one player a scholarship, because if I lie to him about Johnny, and Johnny goes there, and he's not the same kid that I told him he was, they're never going to recruit another kid from me. That happened with a kid at South Carolina. I had an offensive lineman that ended up starting 3 years at South Carolina. The only offer he got was from South Carolina. But he was 6'7", 315 pounds, and played, and still in the league. But the coaches came to me, Coach, tell me about it. I said, yeah. I said, he's a little belligerent. He doesn't make all the workouts. He's lazy. I said, I'm just telling you, he's an NFL player. I said, but if you take a chance on him and he don't work out, don't come back and say, Coach, you didn't tell me, because I'm telling you. So South Carolina, Brad Long's a buddy of mine. He's from Havelock. He coached in Havelock. He recruited, said, well, Coach, we're going to take a shot on him because we don't have 6'7", 315 walking in our doors like Coach Spurrier did when he was at Florida. He said, don't tell Coach Spurrier that. I said, if he don't work out, man, it's on you. So he went there, and they were ready to kick him out his first year. And I brought my staff there to spend some time with their staff, and he was late to an offensive line meeting. And Sean Elliott was the O-line coach then, and he blew him up right in front of all of us. He said, you're going to be on a short bus back to Havelock with your coaches tonight. They moved him to D-line the rest of the year so Brad Long could coach him. Then they found out that he's had sleep apnea ever since he was 10 years old. He's been getting about 3 hours of sleep a night. I don't know about y'all, if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I'm ornery. You know, so they got him on some medicine. He started sleeping. He ended up getting two spring awards and ended up playing for the Detroit Lions and Carolina Panthers. So, and the recruiting process is an imperfect process. It really is. And college coaches will tell you the same thing. But we do everything we can to try to put as many of our players that if you're a high school football player and you want to play college football, there's a spot for you somewhere. You know, it might not be a full ride. Everybody looks, hey, we got to go to Division I. A lot of guys that think they want to go to Division I, and they go to Division I and find out how much work and how much time was put in it, they bow out after 1 year if they're not all in. So we try to steer our kids to the right school that's the best fit for them, academically, athletically, and socially. And that's something I started years ago. I started in North Carolina Shrine Bowl combines. when North Carolina beat South Carolina 4 years in a row, I had to come down and give a speech at the South Carolina Coaches Clinic about the combines, and then South Carolina started running the combines. But that's something that I felt strongly about, because right, wrong, or indifferent, college coaches want to know what your 40-yard dash is, what your bench rep is, what your accurate height and weight is, and what your pro agility shuttle is. They're going to know if you can play, but they want to know those measurables so they can judge your straight ahead speed, your hip mechanics, and your explosiveness. Thanks for the question. Yes, sir.
What kind of offense you gonna run?
We're going to be double tight wishbone. I'm kidding. We're going to be, I'm a spread offense coach, and the spread offense will be based off of our personnel. Coming back, looking at the personnel, I think will be a lot of 11, a lot of 12 personnel, which, for football lingo, all right, first number is how many backs you got. The second number is how many tight ends you got. So if you say, all right, we're going to be 10 personnel, that means we're going to have 1 tailback, 4 receivers. 11 personnel, 1 tailback, 1 tight end. 12 personnel, 1 tailback, 2 tight ends, or tight end / H-back. With looking at film, I'm gonna have to meet with some of the coaches and find out. But I think we're gonna be a varied tempo. We're gonna vary the tempo based on who we play, based on where we're at during the game. But we're gonna be a no huddle offense, employing 10 personnel, 11 personnel, and 12 personnel based on the player's skill set. We've got over 20 RPOs that we run pass option stuff. We'll run some triple option, but the triple option will not be with a pitch. The triple option will be with zone read, counter read, either quarterback run or throwing bubble and now screens. In 2011, we implemented our screen offense, which is the same screens that we're going to run here. 58 touchdown passes that year, 38 of them were on screens or screen and goes, fox routes. So that's what we're going to do on offense. We're going to be a varied tempo, 10, 11, and 12 personnel offense based on the personnel groupings that we have. Any other questions?
That sounds terrific to me.
So you got defensively. Defensively, I'm an odd front guy. So we're going to be a 3-man front primarily, 3-4, 3-3 stack, attacking style. We're not going to sit back and wait for the offense to do something to us. We're going to make the offense react to what we're doing to them. Every player in our program will learn 2 positions. They will learn an offensive and defensive position. We will try to 2 platoon as much as possible, 11 on and 11 off. But when it comes down to whether we're going to win or lose a game, we're going to put our best 11 players on the field. So if you're a starting tailback, but you're also one of my best cover corners, and we're getting late in the game and we're getting ate up by the pass, then you're going to play some corner. We're going to put our best players on the field when the game is on the line to give us a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. And our philosophy is going to be, no matter who we're playing, if we can keep it close until the fourth quarter, we're going to win in the fourth quarter, because nobody's going to be better prepared or in better shape than what our kids are going to be in. And if you're a freshman, you're going to be coached by a varsity staff member for 4 years. We're not going to put our freshmen off to the side and coach them separate. We're going to coach the JV at one end of the field with the freshmen, and we're going to have the varsity at the other end. So if you're an offensive lineman, you're going to be coached by the same coach for 4 years. We're going to do the same terminology. We're going to coach you the same way, because our future, we're not going to sacrifice our future for right now. So that goes back to building the youth and the middle school program, as well as coaching our freshmen and our JV the same way that we're coaching our varsity. So while the offensive staff is coaching varsity, then the defensive staff is going to be coaching the JV and freshmen together. So if we've got 120 kids in the program, we're going to have 60 practicing with the varsity. We're going to have 60 practicing with the freshmen and the JV. The freshmen and the JV will service each other. You're an inside run, group, fundamentals, skelly, team, one-on-ones. They'll service each other, and the 60 on the varsity will service each other. So we'll do 50 minutes of offense a day, 50 minutes of defense, 20 minutes of special teams, and we'll start every practice with a 10-minute competition period, some kind of situation on Friday night. So Monday practices will be called Man Monday. It'll be one-on-one board drills, good on good, O-line versus D-line, inside backers versus running backs and tight ends. Then we'll have receivers, quarterbacks, DBs, and safeties one-on-one on the goal line. And you guys will hear me say this a lot, but everything in life is a competition. Everything. So we compete in everything we do in practice. We keep score. Okay? Your grades, if you approach the classroom the same way that we're going to ask you to approach practice in the football field, you're going to do better in the classroom. Everything in life is a competition. They don't just give out college scholarships academically or athletically because you show up. They don't just give you a car because you show up. You don't get a high-paying job because you want it. You got to earn it. And it's a competition. Everybody out there is going for the same thing you're going for. They're going for the same education you're going for. They're going for the same W on Friday nights you're going for. They're going for the same grading class that you're going for. Okay? So treat everything as a competition. That's what I do. I'm as competitive. The only guy in America that's probably more competitive than me is my dad. That's what my old head coach said. I hate losing. When we drove up here early in the year and a car passed me, and I didn't want to get a ticket, but I wanted to let him pass me and stay like that. So to me, everything in life is a competition. If we playing checkers, I want to beat you. If we playing horse, I want to beat you. Whatever we're doing, I want to win. Okay? And the way that we build that competition is by teaching them how to compete. Okay? Just like anything else. You can't expect a kid to compete if you don't teach them how to compete. So we teach them how to compete in the weight room. When I start next week, we will do some kind of competition at the end of every day in the weight room. To start, you will be competing against yourself. Everybody will do the same weight at the end of a full lifting day. Okay? You'll do the same weight as many reps as you can. And we expect you to beat it the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And we do that to show you how much you're growing in the weight room and who's going to fight when it gets tough. Okay? Because, hey, when it's 70 and sunny, everybody wants to play. Everything's good. Okay? But the way that life is won and the way the games are won is when the chips are down and adversity strikes and stuff ain't going your way. Okay? Who's going to be the guy on the team that's going to step up and take the bull by the horns and be the leader? Okay? We can't have a player, we can't have a coach-led team and be successful. We can't have a coach-led team. The coaches can show you what to do and show you how to do it, but the best teams I've ever coached have been player-led. And that goes back to effort, accountability, and toughness. You got to be accountable not only to yourself, but to your teammates and to your family that's supporting you to be out there and playing. Okay? So, competition, Monday, man Monday. Tuesday, tackle Tuesday. First 10 minutes of practice, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, Oklahoma to start practice every Tuesday. That's our big hitting day. Okay? Wednesday is win Wednesday. Win the down. Win the situation. Screens versus our safety corner, outside backer versus 3 receiver screen recognition, pass pro, pass block, win the down. Third down situations, we got to be able to convert on third down on offense. We got to get off the field on third down on defense. So we teach them how to judge situations. Teach them how to look over at the sideline and say, all right, I got to get 5 yards here to get a first down. So I'm not going to run a 5-yard route. I'm going to run a 6-yard route. So if I get hit, I got a first down. Okay? That's what I think we're missing high school kids when they get to college. I ask college coaches what are the 2 things that they miss the most that high school players don't have. They don't know football. They don't know situations. Okay? And they're not flexible enough in the hips. They're waist benders and not knee benders. So you guys are used to doing parallel squats. You're not doing parallel squats anymore. We're going 2 inches below parallel. That's the only way you're going to develop speed, is going 2 inches below parallel on squats. Okay? Thursdays, we will practice Thursday mornings at 6:30 during the season. Varsity will practice at 6:30. That way, when school's out, varsity, you guys are done. JV and freshmen have games on Thursday. We will split our staff, and we will take half to the JV game, half to the freshman game. But that will be our schedule throughout the year. We may have to move some other practices to early in the morning before school based on the weather and the wet bowl. Okay? But we've got to be ready to adapt and overcome weather, adapt and overcome time, because on Friday night, you're going to have to adapt and overcome any kind of situation that comes up to us on Friday night in the game. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I never got a chance to ask my question, but since I'm on the floor, we've done a lot of talking here tonight. What exactly is your philosophy towards high school football?
Towards high school football, my philosophy is we have to build a man first and then build a player. I think we build high character men first. We do a character development lesson every week during the spring, every week during the season, and that goes from everything from how to track grades to how to treat women to being a good son, all of that kind of stuff. And we also do a proverb for football every year or every day during the season. Read that proverb, then there's a football story after. Mark, Rick, and Bobby Bowden wrote the foreword for that book, and there's really good football stories in there based on each proverb. So I think you build a man first, you build the character of the man, kind of like the military, tear him down, build him back up in the way that you want him built. That is my philosophy of high school football. Anything else?
You
Yes,
gonna make them earn their positions?
sir?
You gonna make them earn their positions?
They're going to earn everything they get. You know, look, I love football, and I plan on being in this community for a long time, but I'm just being honest with you. I have no allegiances to this, to parents in this community. My allegiance is I'm coaching your sons. I'm going to put the best 11 on the field, regardless of who their mom and daddy is, regardless if they're white, black, green, or yellow. Whoever's going to give North Augusta the best chance to win, that's who's going to play on the field. Now, the guys that give us the best chance to win are the guys that's going to do what they're supposed to do in the off season and in the classroom and when we start 7 a.m. meetings in 2 weeks before school. Those are going to be the guys that we're going to go to battle with. We're going to go to battle with the guys that are going to do all the right things. All the right things. Okay? And so you guys understand, I do not meet with parents about playing time. That's one of my deals. I don't meet with parents about playing time. I meet with parents anytime they want to talk about anything outside of playing time and philosophy. But if your son doesn't know why he's playing, if your son wants to know why he's not playing, the chain of command is he goes to his position coach first. Okay? This is a chance for your son to grow and be a man. You go to his position coach first. He talks to him. If he's not satisfied with that, he goes to the coordinator. He's not satisfied with that, he comes to me. Now, when he comes to me, I do not sugarcoat. I am brutally honest. Coach, why am I not playing? First of all, that's not the way you ask. The way you ask is, Coach, what can I do to better help my team win on Friday nights?
That's right.
And then I'll tell you. But if you say, Coach, why ain't I playing? That right there. Because it's about you. It ain't about us. It's got to be about us. Okay? My philosophy is I always put the team before the individual. What is the best for the entire team is what we're going to do as a program. Now, we will have a leadership council that we have big decisions in the program. I'll run it by my coaches, and I'll also run it by that leadership council on the team. Okay? We'll also have an accountability draft. We'll let the players, near the end of the spring, about a month before we start spring practice, we'll let the players vote on 6 captains. Those 6 captains can be freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, doesn't matter. Whoever they think can lead this program. Those 6 captains will then come up on the stage and we'll be in suit and tie and we're going to have the JFL draft, the Jacket for Life draft. I'm the commissioner. Okay? I know the commissioner of the NFL gets booed, but when we have this draft, we're going to still be undefeated, so I don't expect any boos. Okay? But those guys will draft their teams that will compete against each other the rest of the spring and all summer. The first thing that they're going to draft 1 lineman, 1 combo player, and 1 skill player. They get drafted in the first round. They come up, hold a number 1 jersey with their team captain. Then at the end, we'll do our first team picture of the year. The only way you get invited to the draft is by you making 90% of your days leading up to that. That's 90% of your weight room days, 90% of the meetings that we do install. We're going to meet 4 mornings a week before school for 3 months before we start spring practice. When we hit the field in spring practice, we're going to already know what we're doing on offense and defense because we're going to do 2 days a week of offensive install, 2 days a week of defensive install. Okay? I'm OCD about organization and neatness. Okay? All of that stuff is already done. It's already up on Huddle. We hadn't shared it with the players yet because I'm going to meet with our staff and we're going to go through anything that we need to add or subtract, take out. But once that draft is done, those captains will be judged on points every day. So the day after the draft, we're gonna have a position meeting. If I'm a captain on a team and 2 of my players don't show up, then I started that day with 100 points, but now those 2 players have cost my team 40 points, 20 points a player. Okay? And at the end of every day, we're going to do some kind of physical competition at the end of the spring and in the summer. Some kind of football competition, medicine ball toss, hang clean reps, obstacle course, relays. They're going to compete every day. We're going to teach them how to compete. And at the end of every day, if you win that competition, you get another 100 points. If you're second, you get 80, 60, 40, 20. If your team finished last that day, okay, that team cleans the locker room, cleans the field, cleans the weight room. And then at the end of the summer, we tally up all those points. And the team with the most points will have a pizza party, 2 days off conditioning, and a pool party at my house. Okay? And they'll have a dry fit Adidas shirt. I got to get used to Adidas. I've always been in Under Armour school. So Adidas shirt. And then the 4 captains that have the most points, those guys are still captains for the year. The other 2 go back to the general roster. Now we are forcing those 6 guys to lead, and they're going to pick a lieutenant and a captain on that team with them, or excuse me, a lieutenant and a colonel on that team with them that's going to help lead that team. So if for some reason they're not there one day in practice, then this guy can lead the team. But again, kids don't know how to lead unless you teach them how to lead. And the only way you teach them how to lead, just like I was taught how to swim, throw them in the deep end. Swim, figure it out. Okay? But they figure it out during the spring and summer, so when we hit the regular season, they already know how to lead. They already know how to compete. They already know how to fight through adverse situations. So we try to put them in those kind of situations throughout the spring and summer to get them ready for the regular season. Anything else?
Lines up our numbers.
40 kids. Well, you know, to play football is a very difficult situation. Playing football is difficult. It's not easy. We want as many numbers as we can, but we want the right numbers. If the 42 that we have on the varsity are the right numbers, then that's the right numbers. You know, we want as many kids that come out for the team, it's going to come out for the team. But they got to understand that playing football here is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. We're not going to make it easy. It's not going to be an all-inclusive deal where you just show up, come on, play, and let's go. That's not how we're going to do it. That they've got to earn their spot on the team and earn their spot on the field. Now, no matter how many guys we have come out, if we got 200 kids that come out, that's great. Okay? But we're not going to dress out more than 60 on Friday night. I think it's got to be special. I think it's got to be special to play varsity football. That's where we're going to start. Now, if we got 70 kids that are doing what they're supposed to do, then yeah, we'll push it up to 70. But our starting number right now, what we want to get to dress out on Friday night is 60. And that's 60 guys that are going to do everything we ask them to do. They're going to go to the mat for the guy next to them that's going to play for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back. Those are the guys that we want to put on the field. And that's going to be preaching all the time. Team before me. Team before me. It's got to be about the team. It's got to be about North Augusta. It can't be about you. If it's about you, there's a lot of other individual sports that you can play. Golf and tennis. You play golf and tennis. You ain't got to worry about playing with somebody else unless you play doubles. Okay? But football is a team sport. Because you got one really good player, you're not going to win on Friday night. You got to have 11 guys doing the same thing all the time. All the time. And if we're not doing stuff as players to get ourselves better, not just as players, but as men. I'll tell you one thing I hate to do. I hate reading. I just hate to, because I don't have time to read. Okay? But then all of a sudden I found out about this Audible. And I can listen to books. People are reading them to me. So in the past year, I've probably listened to 30 books. The first 46 years of my life, I may have read 2. The rest of them were Cliff Notes in high school. You know, to try to get any English teachers out there, sorry, I did a lot of Cliff Notes in high school. But, you know, I listen to books on leaderships and great generals and how they lead men. You know, to be a great high school football coach, whether you're an assistant, whether you're 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, 7A, I think you got to be a great leader of men. And, you know, I don't claim to have it all figured out. Okay, so I'm constantly trying to learn a better way to lead young men every day. Just finished a book right now called The Program. Finished a book on Jocko Willink. If you guys have never heard of him, look him up. He's as good a motivational speaker you ever hear. Navy SEALs guy, great on leadership, great on motivating. Some of the best books I've ever listened to, not read. Hope that answers your question. Anything else? Good? All right, appreciate that.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. That concludes this part of the program. We'll have some refreshments out in the atrium. If you'd like to talk a little more to Coach, find out a little bit more about his philosophies, he'll talk to you all night, I'm sure. Thank you.